Through you, Mr. Chair, I can confirm it is 4 o'clock, and we are now live streaming and recording. You may begin your meeting. Of course. The town of Pelham is situated on treaty land, steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island live and work in Niagara. The town of Pelham stands in solidarity with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, acknowledging that our high standard of living is a result of the resources and lasting friendship of Indigenous peoples. Through you, Mr. Chair, you may proceed.
Thank you. Committee members, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I move.
And seconded.
Thank you. Okay. So just a couple of points here. Does any member of this panel have any pecuniary interest in any of the applications to be considered at this hearing?
I have none.
And neither do I.
And myself as well. All right. Ms. Assistant Secretary Treasurer, could you please read the motion for appointment?
Sure. We have a motion that pursuant to Section 48, subsection 8 of the Planning Act, Jody Conte be appointed to the Town of Pelham Committee of Adjustment as Secretary Treasurer, and that the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Pelham appoint Holly Wilford as Assistant Secretary Treasurer.
So moved.
Thank you. Seconded?
Oh, I second.
Okay, sorry. All right. Are there any other requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there has not been any request for withdrawal or adjournment.
Okay, so I just want to introduce everybody that's here, up here on the panel and also from the town. My name is John Kappa. To my left is Colin McCann. And over one more spot is Sue Sarko. And to my right, we have Secretary Treasurer Jody Conte, Assistant Secretary Treasurer and Town Clerk Holly Wilford, and Legislative Coordinator, Alex Lewis. Oh, and Planning Manager Shannon LaRocque. Yes. Did I miss somebody?
The engineering manager.
Oh, okay, so, and the engineering manager who's here. Jim, I can't read the last name. Ledesma.
Derek Young.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay, so this is a hybrid hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Pelham. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed should an application be approved. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. During the public portion of each application, we will hear from anyone wishing to submit verbal comments. Comments received following the public portion will not be considered. At the conclusion of this discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Specific wording for conditions may be determined by the committee following the hearing. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant/agent and members of the public that have submitted comments. Notices of decisions can also be obtained by request through the Assistant Secretary Treasurer. Committee members are asked to raise your hand if you would like to speak and vote. Applicants, agents, and attendees are advised that they are free to leave the webinar hearing once a decision has been made on their application. Okay, so the first application we have today for a minor variance is file A7-2026P relating to 483 Highway 20. Ms. Assistant Secretary Treasurer, could you please read the summary presentation?
Absolutely. Alex will just share that. Okay, so Committee of Adjustment hearing for file A7-2026P in regard to 483 Highway 20. The Committee of Adjustment hearing. The Town of Pelham is holding hybrid Committee of Adjustment hearings. A hybrid hearing involves a mixture of in-person and remote attendance and participation. The following presentation is based upon the Town of Pelham's Planning Department report and analysis. Please note that no decisions have been made prior to this public hearing. All comments received from commenting agencies and the public have been forwarded in full to the Committee of Adjustment members for their consideration, and they will appear summarized on these slides. Decorum. The Committee of Adjustment is a formal public hearing requiring decorum. All comments are to be made through the chair. If you have pre-registered to speak or are participating in person, you will be given an opportunity to address the committee at the public portion of the meeting. If someone ahead of you has made the same comments that you wish to make, there is no need to repeat. Please keep all comments concise. Please note, comments must be received during the public portion of the meeting, otherwise they will not be considered. Inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. If decorum is lost, the meeting may be recessed and persons will be asked to leave. So for 483 Highway 20, application for minor variance, the subject land is located on the north side of Highway 20, lying east of Center Street, legally described as Part Lot 9, Concession 7, and known as 483 Highway 20, Town of Pelham. The application is seeking relief from the following. With respect to agricultural-related uses, Section 3.2.1A, to permit a standalone agricultural-related use, whereas an agricultural-related use must be conducted in conjunction with an operational farm. Section 3.2.1H is to request a maximum combined total floor area of 1,465 square meters, whereas the maximum combined total floor area of a building utilized for the agricultural-related use shall be 250 square meters. Section 4.1.1A, minimum parking requirements for agricultural-related use, requesting a minimum of 12 parking spaces, being one space per 123 square meters of gross floor area for an agricultural-related use, whereas 27 spaces are required, being one space per 55 square meters of gross floor area. Section 4.1.3, barrier-free parking spaces, requesting a minimum of one Type A barrier-free parking space, whereas a minimum of 2 spaces are required, consisting of one Type A space and one Type B. Section 5.2.2, minimum front yard setback, requesting a minimum front yard setback of 12.3 meters, whereas the minimum front yard setback is 20 meters. Section 5.2.2, maximum lot coverage, requesting a maximum lot coverage of 12%, whereas a maximum lot coverage of 10% is permitted. And again, 5.2.2 for maximum height, requesting a maximum height of 20 meters, whereas a maximum height of 18 meters is permitted. So to date, the following comments have been received. Public Works comments. Submit a comprehensive lot grading and drainage plan for the parcels, demonstrating that the drainage neither relies on nor negatively impacts neighboring properties, and that all drainage will be contained within the respective lot to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works or designate. Obtain a driveway access and culvert permit from the town for the construction of a new driveway or any modifications to existing driveways and entrances on Center Street if needed. Installation or modification of new entrances shall be completed in accordance with town standards. Please note that these conditions will be part of site plan approval. Building Department. All necessary permits for new construction are obtained prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official. Development charges will be applicable. Fees and charges can be found on the Town of Pelham Building Permits webpage and are subject to annual updates. A building classification must be determined based on the major occupancies using the Ontario Building Code. A building matrix needs to be provided, providing an overview of the requirements. The architectural drawings are to be sufficiently detailed so that building staff can confirm the requirements. NPCA have commented that the minor variance application aligns with a previously circulated site plan application for the proposed works at the subject property. The variances do not speak to the MPCA policies, and as such, the MPC can offer no objection. An MPCA works permit will be required prior to the start of the development and can be submitted by the applicant upon the approval of any planning applications with the Town of Pelham. There was one public comment received, and it is summarized as follows. A resident expressed concern about impacts on a drainage easement on the east side of the property, questioned the rationale for the reduced front yard setback, expressed concern with noise from cooling units, questioned how far from the property line the parking area will be, requested a fence be installed along the property line, and questioned what the future plans for the property will be. Minor variance test. Test 1, the variance is minor in nature. With respect to the agricultural-related uses, section 3.2.1a, yes. While the property is not actively farmed, the agricultural-related use supports local agriculture by providing a value-retaining service for local producers, and the use does not introduce conflicts and is compatible with surrounding operations. Section 3.2.1h, yes. The scale and use is appropriate for the site, and given the site context and existing use, the increase in floor area is considered minor. Section 4.1.1a, minimum parking requirements for agricultural-related use, yes. The parking reduction reflects the operational characteristics of a cold storage facility, which has a low employee and visitor demand. The reduction is not anticipated to result in parking deficiencies. Section 4.1.3, barrier-free parking spaces, yes. The parking reduction reflects the operational characteristics of a cold storage facility, which has a low employee and visitor demand, and the provision of one barrier-free space remains appropriate for the anticipated level of public access to the site. Section 5.2.2, minimum front yard setback, yes. The reduced setback does not result in substantial changes to the streetscape and does not impact visibility, access, or the safe functioning of the site. Section 5.2.2 again, maximum lot coverage, yes. The increase is limited and necessary to accommodate a building that supports agricultural operations, and the increase will not result in an overdevelopment site or adversely affect the surrounding properties. Maximum height, yes. The building exceeds the maximum height by 2 meters. The increased height reduces overall building footprint and assists in minimizing encroachment into the woodland. The additional height does not create adverse visual or compatibility impacts due to the large lot size and rural setting. Minor variance test 2. Is the variance desirable for the development or use of land? With respect to agricultural-related uses, section 3.2.1a, yes. It facilitates a use that directly supports the surrounding agricultural community and makes efficient use of an existing developed property while providing infrastructure that benefits the broader agricultural economy. Section 3.2.1h, yes, it provides a cold storage capacity for local fruit and greenhouse producers, supporting the agricultural economy and local food network. Section 4.1.1a, minimum parking requirements for agricultural-related use, yes. The reduced parking supply is appropriate for the anticipated staffing levels and operational needs, and reducing excess parking limits, impervious surface area, and supports better stormwater management. Section 4.1.3, barrier-free parking spaces, yes. One Type A barrier-free space continues to provide accessible parking for the proposed development while reflecting the reduced parking demand associated with the use. Section 5.2.2, minimum front yard setback. Yes, it allows the building to remain within the existing development area while recognizing the impact of the required regional road widening and avoids encroachment into the woodland. The variance also facilitates a more efficient site layout while minimizing impacts on natural features. For the maximum lot coverage, again, section 5.2.2, yes, it supports an appropriately sized agricultural-related building without expanding development, and concentrating development within a defined area reduces the need for additional site disturbance. Again, section 5.2.2 for the maximum height. Yes, the additional building height allows the storage needs of agricultural producers to be accommodated while reducing the required building footprint, thereby minimizing impacts on the surrounding area and natural heritage features. Minor variance test 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? For agricultural-related uses, section 3.2.1a, yes. The intent of the provision requiring an agricultural-related use to be in conjunction with an operational farm is to encourage agricultural businesses to directly support working farms, ensuring the focus of the business supports the production, processing, or sale of farm products. Section 3.2.1h, yes. The intent of the maximum floor area provision for ancillary retail sales serves several purposes aimed at balancing the agricultural integrity and rural character of agricultural areas with economic development and income diversification in agricultural areas. Section 4.1.1a, minimum parking requirements. Yes. The intent of the minimum parking requirements is to ensure an adequate supply of parking to accommodate expected demand. Given the limited staffing and visitor demand associated with the cold storage facility, the proposed reduction continues to provide sufficient parking to meet operational needs. Section 4.1.3, barrier-free parking spaces. Yes. The provision of one Type A barrier-free parking space continues to provide accessible parking for employees and visitors and is appropriate given the reduced overall parking demand. Section 5.2.2, minimum front yard setback. Yes. The reduced setbacks result primarily from the regional road widening and maintains an appropriate relationship with the roadway while avoiding unnecessary impacts to the woodland on the property. Maximum lot coverage, yes. The proposed increase in lot coverage remains modest and is largely accommodated within the existing developed area, maintaining the overall intent of limiting the extent of built form across the property. And maximum height, yes. Reduced footprint of buildings helps maintain the open rural character of the area and minimizes impacts on natural heritage features. The building remains appropriately separated from adjacent land uses, and the modest increase in height does not result in adverse impacts related to shadowing, overlook, or compatibility. Minor variance test 4, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Yes. Staff is of the opinion that the requested variances will have minimal impact on the agricultural viability of the surrounding area, will not compromise the official plan's objectives respecting land use compatibility and the preservation of agricultural lands, will support local farmers and strengthen the local food network, and therefore maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Based on that analysis, staff is of the opinion the variances are minor in nature, conform to the general policies and intent of both the official plan and zoning bylaw, and are appropriate for the development and use of land. Planning staff recommend that application number A7-2026P be approved, subject to the following conditions. enter into a site plan agreement with the town to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development, obtain an MPCA works permit prior to the start of the development, obtain all necessary building permits prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official. To you, Mr. Chair, we do have the applicant's agent, Ethan Lamont from Upper Canada Consultants, with us today.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I do have a presentation. So as was mentioned, my name is Ethan Lamont. I'm a senior planner with Upper Canada Consultants, representing the owner of the property. So I'm just going to share a brief presentation. I want to keep my comments relatively brief, but I just want to go through a couple of points, and then I'll be available for questions afterwards. So in terms of the overall site context, you can see the property outlined in blue in this image. So the address is 483 Highway 20. It's located on the north side of Highway 20 and on the east side of Center Street. And then in terms of surrounding land uses, there's agricultural lands to the south, some rural residential dwellings to the east. The leash-free dog park is to the north, and a golf course is located to the west. So in terms of the proposed development, as you've heard, the proposal is for an agriculture-related cold storage facility. So there's a need for cold storage locally in the area, and that's been demonstrated by the letters of support that were included as appendix in the planning justification report from a couple local fruit producers. And so in that way, the storage is intended to support the local farmers and the local agricultural economy. So in terms of the overall site layout, really the intention was to provide something that's contextually appropriate and responsive to sort of the constraints on site. So there's a wooded area on the property, and as well, the regional road widening and daylight triangle introduced some additional constraints. And so we work closely with the town planning staff and with the region to sort of come up with a plan that works for the property. And so that's the result of what we're presenting this afternoon. And so the building generally falls within the existing building envelope of the building that was on the property, as well as the parking area. And that was done in order to limit the impacts on the wooded area and to maintain as much tree cover as possible on the property. So here's just a rendering to illustrate what the building would look like with some colors to show sort of the context. So this table outlines the requested variances and the rationale. We went through the rationale quite extensively, so I'm not going to go through it in any detail here, but I will say that we support staff's recommendation and analysis and believe that the variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And so I'll end my comments there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much for presenting that to us. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of questions in terms of if I could just start at this point, and then I'll open it up to the panel. The footprints, I know that there's 2 variances, minor variances being asked for, where one is the 250 square meter bylaw, and it's pretty much 6 times that. But then there's a percentage on the property of 10 and then 12%. Help me understand what that entails and why those 2 bylaws are so uneven, I guess, or...
Yeah, certainly, and through you, Mr. Chair. So with regards to the overall, the square meter number, so one of the variances as well is that an agriculture-related use needs to be in conjunction with an operational farm, and so those 2 provisions basically work in tandem. And the intention is that you're not taking too much of a farm property and allocating it for an agricultural use. In this case, obviously, there isn't a functional farm on the property. It's too small and it's too constrained to actually accommodate a farm. And so the entire property is being used for agricultural related uses on its own. And so by consolidating a larger building footprint on this property, it reduces the need to have multiple cold storage facilities, and so it's actually more operationally efficient to have a larger footprint on this property. And then with respect to the lot coverage, as you heard in the staff presentation, a large component of that overage is because of the loss of land basically through the regional road widening and the daylight triangle, and so that has downward pressure on what the lot coverage number ends up being.
Yeah, because this, excuse me, this takes into account kind of where the actual, say, lot line is and what the region owns on Highway 20, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to open it up to the rest of the group here with questions. I do have a couple more, but I want everyone to contribute. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Just to confirm, I think it's pretty implicit in there. I just want to hear a category. There's no retail activity planned for this site.
That's correct. It's just strictly cold storage.
Cool. And is this going to be a, like we say, cold storage? Are we talking freezer cold? Or are we talking just
Refrigerated.
chiller?
Yeah.
Chiller cold.
Freezer cold -18.
Freezer cold -18. Okay. And has there been any thoughts or indications on the noise level that will be coming from these chillers?
Through the chair, I don't believe that we have stats on the noise, but the location of the chillers takes into account sort of location and proximity to neighbors, and so there's a bump out, as you'll see in the site plan, there's a bump out that sort of blocks the chillers from adjacent properties and sort of acts as a noise attenuation.
Okay, and
I think that's
I
what it
do.
is, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you've got
Have your,
your lot plan up there. I just want to make sure that I'm looking at this. I think I see what you're talking about. That would be,
yeah.
Yeah, so just, you'll see they're sort of located on the north side of the building, and there's this bump out.
that bump out. Okay, good. That's what I thought. Okay, and that leads me into my next question. The property itself butts right up against one residence, and the concern is being expressed that I think we're about to hear about barriers, noise levels, traffic, and whatnot. One of your diagrams, not that particular one, but there's another one which shows shrubs and bushes and fences, and I don't sure if I see those on the existing as it exists today. So is that something that is going to be undertaken to assist with the barrier between that and the residents?
Yeah, certainly, and through you, Mr. Chair, so that's something that will be undertaken through the site plan and implemented through the site plan approval process, and so the intention is to provide a little bit more of an enhanced buffer, so to speak, with fencing and plantings to sort of help limit the noise as much as possible for those neighbors.
Okay.
We got time.
Yeah. Okay, my next,
Excuse me.
yeah, just the new plan has a storm pond, and I'm not sure, is there a storm pond currently on the site?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, there's not a pond currently on the property.
Okay, and why the need now for a storm pond?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so that is a town requirement when we go through site plan approval process to control pre to post flows, and so based on the amount of impervious area on the property, there's a certain amount of stormwater that needs to be controlled and managed on site. And so that's actually a dry pond, so it's not full of water. It just, when there's a significant rain event, the water will back up and stay into that, in that depression basically, and will discharge at a controlled rate into the municipal system.
Okay, all right. And two more points, yes, so are there planned hours of operation for this? Is this,
Right now, we're looking at 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
okay? 5 days a week?
5 days a week.
5 days, so no weekends,
We're looking
no 24-hour traffic?
on Saturday as well.
Yeah. Okay. And my last thing is, you mentioned, we don't have anybody from the region, but you mentioned the road widening in that area is, tell me what that would entail?
So the region requires, through you, Mr. Chair, the region requires a road widening. Don't know what it is off the top. I believe it's just over 3 meters wide. And so that's to meet their anticipated right-of-way width for Highway 20. And so when we go through site plan approval process, that's their cue basically to take their road widening to meet the right-of-way width.
Okay, so would that be like a turn-off lane? Is that what I'm?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that doesn't necessarily indicate that they have plans to do any sort of road improvements. It's more so a long-term planning exercise where they have an opportunity to
Okay,
take the road
sorry, yeah,
widening
you're,
at this point.
yeah, the inevitable widening of Highway 20, yeah, okay. No, I was wondering if what you mentioned would entail any sort of a turn-off lane for that, like I see on the properties on Highway 20, the one I'm most familiar with is the golf course has a turn-off lane there.
Right.
But you have there's no,
There's no plans at this point in time, but certainly the road widening would be able to accommodate a turn lane if that was something that comes up in the future.
yeah, okay. I think that's all I've got for now.
I have no questions because he asked my question.
Excuse-
Told me I'd left you a couple.
Yeah, sorry.
I'd like to make a few comments if I get a chance.
Yep, you will. I just want to we'll go step by step here. We definitely open it up to everyone. I just want to finish with Ethan here right now. So my other question is, you got me thinking with that -18, I just kind of like, so what are the products and, what are we talking about? Like local farmers, or are we talking about, distributors using your location as a transition point? Okay, so there you
I
go.
can answer that. I'm
Okay.
the owner, Ron Brower.
Ron, can you please just come up to the mic, please, if you're going to add, and just state your name before you start, and then, yeah.
I'm Ron Brower.
Okay.
From Brower Building Systems, and we hope to start Brower Cold Storage,
Okay.
the new business. And that is a very good question. So a local farmer would be around the corner, someone like Berry Fresh.
Okay.
Local strawberries that have to be frozen, that he's going to Niagara-on-the-Lake now to freeze his strawberries. He's very in favor of being able to store his product by us. Second one would be Cherry Hill Farms, a frozen cherry juice. It's not allowed to be brought across the U.S. border unfrozen. Right now, they're going to Conestoga. They would love to have a local supplier of basically somewhere to bring it.
Got it.
Those are just two local ones, but other ones are companies like Highland Ridge in Smithville that have a retail store. They're going also to Niagara-on-the-Lake. Big Country Raw, raw dog food storage. They also are going to Niagara-on-the-Lake. There are many local farmers that have to freeze their food now to be able to move it.
Right.
And that's become a bigger issue. Almost all food is frozen before it's transported. So that would be an example. Why I raised my hand a little bit
Sure.
is I would like to address the people that are concerned, but one thing that Ethan hasn't brought up is there is an extensive landscape plan for this property that is replanting 4 trees to every one that was cut down, and is completely buffeting the front of this building. The driveway's been taken out. The region only allows 1 driveway entrance instead of 2. And that whole front of that building is going to be filled with trees. I see the concerns from the owner about a fence. No problem. I agree with the fence. They make great owners. But also along her property, it's very extensively landscaped. And we want good neighbors, and we want to be friends with them.
Okay.
And the noise concern, that's why we put the units where they are. They're facing north. You have an office structure that is going to buffet the noise, and I honestly believe almost all the noise is going to go towards the dog park.
Right.
Because it would have to hit the building to go towards her house.
Right.
Which is, and the location is actually right exactly where the 2 buildings are now. That's actually the front of the building. So the back of the building would be the new units the three-phase brand-new units are not near as noisy as what you used to get. Honestly, I don't think the noise is going to be an issue at all. How am I doing?
That was good.
All right.
But yeah, and when they make their comments, I'm willing to answer, but that's kind of a little bit of a nutshell. It's a new business. It's very small footprint, and we're very excited about it. It's something different. No one's built this in Ontario before. But it is my fourth freezer building that I've built, and this one for ourselves. So.
Okay. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate the comments. Thank you. Anything else to add?
No, I have nothing further to add, no.
Any other questions on our end? No. Okay. Has anyone pre-registered to speak via Zoom at all or anything like that? Let me see here.
Mr. Chair, we do not have any
Okay.
pre-registered speakers, so you may open it up to the gallery.
Okay. All right. Why don't we open it up to the public portion at this point? If anyone wishes to speak, please just state your name and come up to the microphone.
We're going
Yes.
to get it on for you.
Here with my husband, Sid Murray. My name is Margaret Murray. My husband's here too, Sid. We live directly across the street from where this building has. We've been there 38 years. We have no problem with what he's doing. My concern and my husband's is driveway access. And I heard there's something going to happen with the two front entrances on Highway 20 are going to be gone, and it's going to be on Center Street. That's what I assume.
No.
No.
No?
No,
They're
hold
going to be
on.
on Highway 20?
Yeah, one entrance on Highway 20, the other one's eliminated.
Well, the one entrance, for us to go west and get into our property, it's like taking your life in your hands. So there has to be a widening, a turning lane or something. Because you have two lanes going east right from the bottom of the hill right up to E.L. Crosley. Going the other way, going west, you've got one single lane. So for us to get into our driveway with the traffic you have now, it's going to be hard because they whipped by you on one of the driveway entrances just to get around us. They don't wait. So something has to be taken into consideration there. I don't know if two lanes both ways, I don't know what the process was, but that's our concern. Getting rid of those old buildings is going to look good, I think. So,
Right.
and I'm sure it'll be done properly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, hi, my name
Hi.
is Andrea Wainman, and my mother, Janet Wainman, owns the right next door to where the building is going to be built. So some of the concerns were touched on, and I respectfully request that there is a refusal of some of the zoning bylaws that have been requested, because I feel it is incompatible with the surrounding residential area, especially the house in front and beside. I know we gave you the copy, but it's okay. I'm just going to read it so
Yeah.
everybody can hear. So kind of skip over a little bit, but my concerns are the scale and capacity and intensity of the structure proposed, and given the amount of bylaw discrepancies in size of the structure, as well as the operating capacity of a cold storage unit, and it does not feel that it can be made compatible with the adjacent residential uses and properties. So first, the cold storage unit. So yes, the 24/7 noise will be hopefully not an issue, but without the building being there, it's hard to know if that sound is going to carry on to my mother's property. And with a residential house next door and in front, 24/7 loud noise will be very disruptive to a living environment, which is not compatible with someone who's been living there for 42 years and 38 years across the street. Also, the loading dock activity and the noise during the working hours with transport trucks coming in and out will be very disruptive. Bright security lights at night will impact privacy and, again, the lighting on my mother's property coming into the house and into the windows that are there will be very disruptive. Large trucks coming in and out of the property daily in a quiet residential, agricultural, farming area, which is not used to it. We do live on a highway, so we're used to some trucks, but not trucks queuing in the area and coming in and standing there with bright lights onto the property. So I feel that this can violate the compatibility to the adjacent residential structures. Also, how does this plan on being resolved not to disturb and disrupt the living environments of the people that have been there for years? Whether it be retaining walls, noise canceling fences, concrete walls to block the noise. What about the light of the business? Is there not a requirement that a fence should be placed up? Though with the excessive noise, there should be larger soundproof required, just like as on a highway. There's a highway being built, they usually put up large barriers to prevent noise from and transport trucks from those houses. So what's the difference when this is right next door to my mother's property? There is a huge privacy issue on the property. If there's only an 8-foot fence and there's transport trucks coming in and out, people loading and unloading, the visual of my mom's property is at risk. People can see onto her property. She has no privacy to live her life. It's not conducive. There are going to be loud humming noises, privacy issues, 24-hour refrigeration systems. I mean, these are all significant issues for existing properties in the area. Heavy traffic, which was already mentioned by our neighbors across the street. Highway 20 corridor is already very sensitive to traffic and flow. Heavy truck traffic not only affects noise levels, but highway traffic right outside of the residential property. There is safety with entrance and exit of the property, especially when there is already concerns with safety on a highway. My mom's home is directly beside the access route, so what safety plans will be in place and what traffic studies have been done or will be done to prove safety of the trucks coming in and out of this property. There should not be any truck queuing near any residential driveways. My mom's driveway is right beside the driveway that will be there. So what happens when truck queuing starts to line up and back up on a highway? As well as dedicated truck access off of residential streets. As far as I'm concerned, that is not allowed. Where my mom is living is considered a residential area. What about turning lanes that need to be placed? As was said previously as well, there should be turning lanes and access to eliminate traffic from backing up, especially on a busy highway, which is already hard to get in and out of. And this will also be redirecting traffic and causing more issues. Drainage to the area is also a major concern. With the bylaw that is being requested for amendment, if the development changes the natural drainage as proposed in the amendment request, there will be a huge change to the runoff speed and volume of water, infiltration into the soil, which will increase the risk of basement flooding to nearby houses, erosion issues, and higher runoff speeds during storms, as the soil is sandy and retains water quickly. And we know this by living there for 42 years. Will the business be responsible to pay for and fix the flooding issues in my mother's house, since they are proposing to remove the natural drainage systems in place that have worked well for the full 42 years that my parents have been there? And with these new stormwater ponds, what if these fail? There is a natural drainage system in place that the survey shows, which my parents also have a copy of. In the survey that when they purchased the house from July 19th, 1985, with an untouched easement of 20 feet. They're proposing to take out this natural drainage system with this easement. The groundwater recharge is going to be affected, and the uncertainty of how the drainage system will work for pre-existing structures is not acceptable. Compatibility. The big question is an industrial cold storage facility compatible with the existing rural residential homes in the surrounding areas? For us, the answer is no. It disrupts noise, traffic, light. Scale of the building is larger than the bylaws currently allow, which are in place for a reason, as well as the escarpment and rural character of the area. This is a quiet farming area with a golf club on the corner, agricultural farming land and fruit farms with horses, family homes, as well as a dog kennel across the street. Having a large industrial building does not seem compatible with the zoning of the area. Lastly, this area and property have been zoned as agricultural land. This building does not seem like agricultural land or farm. I was advised that there is already a use of this land to build large doors, which seems to be a misuse, and I'm not sure if that was either approved prior, as well as the removal of trees currently happening on the property, which was not advised, which has taken place and disrupted my mom's living situation. I also have one last question. There is a market on Highway 20 called Gallagher's, and a few years ago, they proposed a parking lot on a pre-existing area to allocate more parking on their property, and after removing a dwelling due to the escarpment board and greenbelt, they were denied. So therefore, how is a large cold storage on agricultural land with so many concerns surrounding the development and removal of pre-existing structures, which will directly affect surrounding structures in the area in a negative way, be able to have numerous bylaws overturned and changed to erect this building? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you mind just coming back for a sec? We have a couple questions for you, if that's okay. Thank you. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just want to touch on the one of the original pieces of correspondence you received mentioned the easement on the property.
Yes.
But in the interest of privacy, that portion that actually mapped it out was redacted. Can you just explain to me what the easement on the property provided and allowed for?
So it's a natural drainage sewer system. So there's pipes that go from my mom's neighbor under her property and into the area where they are looking to build. And if they're to be building on that area, those pipes would need to be removed, which is why it seems like they're putting this natural sewage pond in the back to try and offset that.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I don't believe it's a sewage pond, but it's a stormwater pond is how it's described to me, and I stand to be corrected. But so it's drainage from
It's natural drainage.
natural drainage. Okay,
Correct.
okay, good. Just so I know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
You're welcome.
No. Oh. Yes. Okay, if you're going to speak, and you just have to come up, state your name. Yeah, kind of the same routine.
Sorry, my name's Janet Wayman. Sorry, my name is Janet Wayman. I have a copy of the original survey when I purchased the home. And there's a drainage that comes across from Highway 20, from the ditches, that comes across into their property. And there's a big pipe there, it comes out. And from under my driveway, there's a drainage there pipe, because my neighbor's lot gets sometimes full of water, comes underneath the property and goes out into the side to where their property is. I got charged for that bill once to maintain that. I need to locate it, but I've been charged for it. So there is something there, and I don't know why I'm being charged for it, but I got charged 1 year for it. I'm digging my papers right now everywhere to find it for your use. So I'm concerned about that. It did flood 1 year and nearly reached, it was, you know how deep it is there, it reached up to my property 1 year, that flooding. So I'm very concerned about that happening. Okay.
Okay.
And yes, definitely we have a lot of concerns. I have 3 young grandchildren right now, and 2 are autistic. So the noise really affects them. Everything is bothering them, and I'm having a hard time now even to be in my backyard at the moment. Can't put a pool out this year, they wanted, because of a lot of the dust that's being created and the noise. It's so loud right now. Like I know they're trying to build, but it is very disruptive for my family right now. And I'm just trying to be, I've been a good neighbor for 42 years for the people. Minor brothers used to be in there, Niagara, forget whatever. They've been their neighbors for years.
Sorry, on that point, I hate to interrupt you there, but I was thinking of asking you. So you've been there for 42 years.
I have.
When you moved there, was that always a commercial property?
It was run by Niagara Farms, Niagara something,
Okay, so
growers.
I guess my question though is that property was never residential,
Never.
right? It was
It was
always
always-
commercial? So when you moved in, you knew it was commercial?
It was
commercial
agriculture
property?
apparently, but it was, they had like farming equipment in it, like
Okay.
purchased bottles. It used to be built.
But it was a business. It was a
It was
business.
a business run where they
Okay.
would purchase
Yeah, I just
stuff.
wanted to make sure.
It was never farmed. There was never ever farming on that property as agricultural.
Okay.
So it was always like Minor Brothers came in, you bought things from them, kind of like that.
How was the traffic with Minor Brothers during those years?
Very little.
Oh, they didn't have customers?
They had, but very
Oh.
little were, like, it was not like it was a constant in and out.
It was just like a personal family car would come in or a small truck, pick up
Okay.
some soil and then leave. Like it wasn't heavy
Oh.
traffic at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've only been in Fawn Hill for 25 years, so that's why I can't go back to.
Okay.
I think when I first moved here, they were still up, but then they closed down right away. Okay.
Yep. Anyway,
Any other comments from you two before, if you want to sit down, or?
I think that's it. If there is,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, please, Ethan.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to address the stormwater management comment and the comment with respect to the easement. So with respect to the easement, there's as you heard, there's a drainage easement that runs along that property line. So that easement's staying in place. We're not removing any drainage features. The pipe that's underground right now is staying in place. So we're not proposing to remove that. And so that system is going to continue to function. And then just with respect to the stormwater management, as I mentioned before, when we do development, we have to meet pre to post stormwater conditions, and so we're not allowed to let more water exit the property than currently does, and so that's the purpose of the stormwater management pond, is to throttle that water back and make sure that there's no excess water leaving the site. So I just wanted to clarify those couple of things.
And there's also provision already made for kind of the drainage plan for the entire property anyways, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's,
So
that-
you're not touching the easement area, and there's a plan to make sure that the water, when you're done, doesn't affect any of the neighbors.
That's exactly correct, and that's something
And that will be basically approved by the town.
yeah, through the site plan approval process,
Okay.
exactly,
All right.
yes.
Okay. Does anybody else want to make any comments while I'm still open?
I think I could make a few more comments.
Okay,
I would back up.
sure.
Okay, I think with the noise of the units also, in the old days, they may have all been blasting at the same time. That doesn't happen anymore. They all circulate at different times. They turn on as they go. And I do know from building these cold storages, there is very limited noise. I don't expect that to be a problem. With the lighting on the building, I'm sure that we can come up with a solution to have subtle lighting on the east side and actually subtle lighting on the building. We don't need to light this thing up like a ballpark. There's no reason for that. It's going to be basically in a forest when we're done. Trying to think of what else her concerns were. Also, the trucks, when they're in the loading dock, their lights are pointed north, away from the house.
What's the expectation on trucks, if you don't mind me? Like, what is that volume look like?
2 or 3 a day.
2 to 3 a day?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is mainly a long-term storage thing.
Right.
Most people store for over a month.
Right, so
Yeah.
will you be getting 5 tons, tractor trailers? Like, could it be anything?
I don't know, but I would say that there will be a lot of straight trucks, not tractor trailers.
Right, right.
It's not really meant for it's not, it can handle the tractor
Sure.
trailers, but that's not really the business that we're trying to target here.
Okay.
It's more of a local, most of the people that I know are not running tractor trailers. They're running straight trucks, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to, John Mack, I'm with Brower as well.
Okay.
Just again, with respect to the noise concerns, one thing that we didn't mention was this actual build is an R72 build, very insulated building, and the reason we did that was to minimize the cost of cooling, which actually reduces the on time for each of those cooling systems that we have. So not only are they off and on at different intervals, but much, much lower than the regular R42 or R50 cold storage. So again, that's going to minimize it. Those units, by the way, if you take a look at where the back of the building is, would be well back behind where the house is, right? So the sound is going back into the forest, and it's already back beyond where the the houses that they're concerned about. The other thing that I wanted to mention is what we're planning to do with the landscape plan. And we've got an extensive landscape plan on that east side. So fencing all the way down, columnar trees all the way up, large trees coming in at 20 feet and going to 60 feet. So we're going to do our best to have a woodland enhancement plan that also protects that east side, shelters it from the house as well. We're ready to work with our neighbors to come up with whatever solutions we need to totally respect and understand what their concerns are right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that was a lot of information. Thank you for everyone's comments. I really appreciate it. I'm going to ask the panel one more time. Is there anything else that's come up since then that you might want to look at?
I just had a quick question, if I may. How many employees do you plan on having? 5? And they would be full-time employees? Okay, thanks.
Questions for staff, but don't we do that in the public portion?
What's that?
Questions for staff?
Yeah.
Do it now or when you
Yeah,
close?
I guess we could do both. When we close?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I just wondered if there was any more public comments. If not, I'll ask for a motion to close this part of the meeting, please.
Motion to close.
And seconded.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, I am going to ask the committee now if they have any questions for anyone in the room here, including the town. See if there's any other comments. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
No, I have none.
I do, and in reviewing the information, the submission by Mr. Andrews, so I don't know who's filling in for him. Yeah, lucky Ms. Rock. Just educating myself on the whole AMAFRA approvals process as to what an agricultural-related facility is. And I just noticed some of the points in his email. For example, we're being asked for a variance to increase total floor space, but one of the points that's being made in the AMAFRA process is that it should be operating within the existing development's footprint. Can you comment on that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So there's a few different policy sets in play. This property is specialty agriculture. It's in the Greenbelt Plan area. And there are agricultural policies that apply and relate to the fact that it's going to be used for an agriculture-related warehouse use. And then there's also environmental policies that apply because there is woodland on site. So the comments about the trying to keep to the existing development footprint as much as possible, those relate to the environmental features on site and the woodland. And so, I mean, there were a number of constraints on this site when the property owner is working through the plans with his consulting team, because we've got the woodland, we've got the fact that it's a corner lot, we've got the fact that it's undersized and that the region wanted road widening and site triangle to be deeded over to them. We've got the drainage easement. So, and then also the limitation of trying to stay within that footprint. So that's where we landed with this. It's mostly within the area that was the previous farm store, agricultural store in the outside storage area. That's where the parking lot's been located. That's where the building's been located. And I think Mr. Brower mentioned that, you know, that resulted in about 4 trees, maybe 7 trees being removed, which are going to be replaced through that planting on the property, both in front of the building and along that east lot line.
All right. And just to confirm, again, another one of the guidelines that was pointed out was that it was going to replace a former agricultural-related building. I'm not sure if Mr. Brower's current use falls into that category, so are we relying more on the previous Minor Brothers occupancy?
through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct. We're relying on the fact that it was used as the Vineland fruit growers. Is that right? Vineland growers, where, you know, fruit was brought to be processed and shipped out for many years and sold. And then after that, Minor Brothers, and the site has sat vacant since that time. So the last known use and the last intended use of the site were for those agriculture-related uses. So uses that served the surrounding agricultural operations.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay. Any other questions? You're good? All right. What am I doing now? I don't have any more comments, so I'm good. I need a mover and a seconder.
Okay, I will be making the motion.
Yes.
Regarding file A72026P. Okay,
Sorry. Apologize. I didn't see her back there. Yeah. Unfortunately, sir, unfortunately, the public portion is closed. Do you remember earlier, we went through that whole, unfortunately, I have to stick, maybe you guys could talk about it together, okay? Sorry about that. All right.
okay. With regards to file A72026P, 483 Highway 20, an application made for minor variance of a standalone agricultural-related use, whereas the bylaw requires the use to be in conjunction with an operational farm. A maximum combined total floor area of 1,465 square meters. A minimum of 12 parking spaces, in brackets, 1 space per 123 square meters GFA, close bracket. A minimum of 1 type A barrier-free parking space. A minimum front yard setback of 12.3 meters. A maximum lot coverage of 12%. And a maximum building height of 20 meters. I move this application be granted for the following reasons. 1, the variances are minor in nature as the use supports local agricultural, remains tied to agricultural production, and is compatible. The scale and use are appropriate for the site, and the increase in floor area is considered minor. The parking reduction is not anticipated to result in deficiencies, and 1 barrier-free parking space remains appropriate for the anticipated public access. The reduced front yard setback reflects the revised lot line and does not result in substantial changes to streetscape or impact safe functioning. And the increase in lot coverage is limited and necessary to accommodate a building supporting agricultural operations. And the increased height reduces the building footprint and does not create impacts. 2, the intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. 3, the intent of the official plan is maintained. 4, the proposals are desirable for the land as it facilitates redevelopment supporting the surrounding agricultural community. It provides cold storage capacity that supports greenhouse producers and the local food network. The reduced parking supply reflects operational needs while minimizing the unnecessary paved surfaces. And 1 type A barrier-free parking space provides accessible parking for the development. The reduced front yard setback recognizes the regional road widening while maintaining an efficient site layout, minimizing impacts on the natural features. The increased lot coverage accommodates an appropriately sized agricultural-related building. The additional building height reduces the building footprint, minimizing impacts on natural features, improving operational efficiency. 5, this application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. 6, the Committee of Adjustment has considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act test for minor variance. There are 3 conditions. Condition 1, the owner enter into a site plan agreement with the town to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development. 2, obtain an NPCA works permit prior to the start of the development to the satisfaction of the MPCA. And 3, that all necessary building permits are obtained prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I get a seconder for that motion?
I second.
And if I could get a vote.
Yes, so we will vote now on the motion,
Yes.
Yes.
and myself is also yes.
Thank you. So through you, Mr. Chair, we're looking for approval of the April 7 minutes, Committee of Adjustment minutes.
I approve. I motion.
Thank you.
And seconded.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, that brings us to adjournment. If I can-
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.